Hey, thank you so much for joining another episode of Celeste the Therapist podcast. This is like 330 something. So I'm excited. And I have a special guest. All my guests are special. I don't think I've never had an organizer on before. She's more than an organizer, but that's what she does. Can you introduce yourself to my audience, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kendra Littlejohn. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I am a professional organizer.
Thank you for being here. And how is Memphis?
You're
Is Memphis hot
welcome.
right now? Memphis is hot.
Memphis is a little cool. The
What's
winter
cool?
is the winter is kicking in 50s.
That's
Around
that's
fit
cold.
for me it is. Anything below 60, 65, I'm freezing.
Oh my gosh. So you don't want to come to Boston.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Thank you for
What's it
being
like
here.
there? 30s,
Well, right
20s?
now it's probably about 45, 50. But I mean, it's not too bad because winter hasn't kicked in yet. So
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, you could keep that over
Yeah,
there.
y'all can have that. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm excited to have you on because one of the things that I've learned for myself is that a clear space helps me think clearly. And that's one thing I talk
Absolutely.
to my clients about. So I want to talk about your journey into like getting into organizing for a living. Now, because you're doing this now, I'm going to assume that people would have always said they can see you in this space. It's probably something you've always liked doing. Is that fair to
Yes,
say?
that is very fair to say. This has always been something that I've loved to do, even as a child, as a teen. I've always been an organized person.
Where do you think you got that from growing up?
I really don't know, but if I had to pick someone, I would say it's probably a trait from my paternal grandmother. And I say that because going to her house was almost like I've never been in prison, but it was almost like being in prison. Sorry, y'all. I mean, I mean that in the nicest way if my
No,
family's
I
listening.
know, but I want to know what was she
But
doing?
I mean, like we couldn't have dirty hands in the house. We had to sit in one place. We couldn't move anything. Her house was immaculate all the time, and
Um,
it was I was like, I think this is something that I get from her
oh, okay.
because
Now, when you
nobody
would
else
go,
in my family is that way.
oh, okay, so it's not like what do you think hers is more OCD or
It could have been, and at times people
okay,
have labeled me as a little bit OCD, and I don't really fight that. Could
oh,
be
okay.
true,
It's a
but
spectrum.
yeah, on the low
Hmm.
end of the spectrum, maybe in the middle even.
Right. Now, you grew up in Memphis, right?
I'm born and bred in Memphis, Tennessee. Never lived anywhere else. Would love to at some point, maybe Boston,
Yeah, stop
but
lying because you can't do the winters there.
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I've lived here all my life.
Okay. Now, tell me a little bit about what career path you decided to choose. During because you worked somewhere for 18 years. So tell me a little bit about your journey and your career path.
So my career path, I've been in finance for 25 years. That's the only field that I've worked in. Aside from before starting my career, I was in admin and things like that. But my 25-year career was in finance, and in the year of 2017, I lost my job from a company I had been with for 18 years.
Mhm.
And I had no idea what I was going to do. I was already on burnout from corporate America. I was already on burnout from finance. I did not want to go back to corporate America. Did not want to go back to work at all. But
What do you think the burnout in corporate America was for you? What do you think led to that?
it was the field that I was in. For one, there
Mhm.
wasn't much interaction with people. It just felt too confined, and I wanted to do something that allowed me to be more creative and a little bit freer, in what I love to do. So I was like, yeah, it's time to do something different. It's really time to do something different. But I didn't know what that was going to be. And I pondered over it, and one of my friends actually said to me, "Why don't you start organizing? That's what you love to do. Every time you go to someone's house, you're cleaning something, you're organizing something, and we just let you have free range, but why don't you just make a career of it?" And I said, "You know what? You're right."
When you say you didn't have a chance to be creative, because I think I can see you, somebody like you who enjoys organizing. I could tell you're creative because to go in somebody's space and help them rearrange and organize things in a way that works for them. Did you think you were always a creative person?
Absolutely, yes,
And being in finance
always.
doesn't allow that creativity to take place,
No,
which could have probably been part of the burnout as well. Like the fact that,
exactly.
okay.
It
Okay.
absolutely was a part of it. And I tried to find ways to be creative, at work. I was always the one that would volunteer for special projects or,
Mhm.
was always participating in the best office decoration contest, things like that. And always going to my managers with different projects that I wanted to, implement and things like that. But that only took you so far.
Okay. Now, I went from like a 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship. And even though I knew this is what I wanted to do, that transformation or that process kind of felt daunting. And with you being a numbers person in finance, emotionally, like your friend said this, but then you actually had to do that. What was that like for you to make that jump from corporate America to Organized by Kendra?
Well, it wasn't scary for me at all because, like I said, I had already been let go from the job. I wasn't doing anything at this time except trying to figure out what my next move was. And
Oh,
so, yeah, I was actually off of work for 18 months after I lost that job of 18 years. I was off for 18 months. I don't remember exactly when I started organizing part time. I think it may have been 6 months into my layoff.
okay.
Maybe about 6 months into my layoff is when I started organizing part time. But in that time before that, I was just trying to decompress,
Hmm.
unwind,
Hmm.
and regroup to figure out what it was I was going to do and how I was going to move forward in that time. And what a lot of people don't know is at the very same time, I was also going through a divorce. So there was a lot going on
Hmm.
mentally and emotionally in my space. And so I needed that time to just decompress and figure out my next move.
Okay, so having that space kind of allowed you the emotional freedom to make the transition because it wasn't like you were on a time crunch because you didn't actually have
Exactly.
a job to go to.
Exactly. And so when she said, "Why don't you start organizing?" I took it immediately and ran with it because she said, "Let's start with my apartment." And so
Mhm.
we started on her apartment immediately. And I think at the end of the week, she was sharing it on Instagram as we went along the project. And at the end of the week, I had like 5 clients. And so I was like,
Stop
I
lying.
was
Oh
like,
my
okay,
God.
I'm doing this. Okay, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing.
Oh, that's so dope.
So
So
yeah, that's how
like
that happened.
now organizing a friend space is different than like random people. Now you get these, now people are wanting to work with you. You get these new 5 clients. Were you comfortable at that point in doing this work?
Absolutely. I was very
Oh,
comfortable. I was very comfortable with it. And see, I had done this before. Back in 2009, I organized for a year.
okay.
And I stopped because I was in school working, a single mom,
Hmm.
and I was like, I'm doing too much. And
Hmm.
so I stopped organizing.
Hmm.
But it was the one thing out of everything I've done. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm like a serial entrepreneur at this point. I've done a lot of things. I've been a caterer, I've been a makeup artist, I've been a
Oh,
hairdresser,
snap.
I've been an event planner. But organizing was the one thing I'm like, I'm gonna come back to this at some point. And so
Oh,
even when my friends said, we don't know what you're gonna do right now, why don't you start organizing? The thought had not even crossed my mind. And
wow.
I don't even know why. It hadn't even crossed my mind.
Wow. Okay. So now you get these clients. What's the process like for people or and for you walking into a space as you're working with them around trying to get their place in order?
So for me, the process is initially I want to meet the client and I want to get a feel and a vibe for what space they're really in mentally
Mhm.
and how willing they are to actually do this work.
I
And
know.
so once I first meet with a client, I'm there on a consultation, but I'm really vibing. I'm
Okay.
really trying to get a vibe of how committed you're going to be to this process, how bad you want this, and how how do I say this? How successful you want to be in really achieving the goal that you desire.
And you're saying that because sometimes people have like a lot of things, but I think sometimes, especially in America, we're so attached to things. And I think they
Yeah,
feel a temporary void within us, which is why
yeah.
people will say like, oh, I have too much stuff as, more Amazon boxes are coming, and not know how to separate from things. Is that something that you find when you go into spaces where there's a lot of things?
That's not so much the problem that I have, but one of the
Okay.
things I'm really looking for is to see because some people will get, they're overachievers. I want to tackle this space, I want to tackle that space, I want to
Oh.
tackle this space, and then into the project, it's like I'm overwhelmed. Like, let's stop for right now.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, I want to, when I'm coming to you for the consultation, I'm really trying to get a feel of how committed you want to be in getting this done,
Okay. I
or
see what.
if we should small in really, really small steps.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you are working with people, are there any common themes that you're seeing with clients and their lack of organizing? And then I want to ask you, like, when they have organized, what do they say about their mental space?
So the common thing for my clientele, and this could look different according
Hmm.
to, everyone's clientele, depending on the niche that they service. But the common thing for my clientele is lack of time. It's lack of time and too much stuff. So
And too much stuff?
too much stuff.
Oh,
My
okay.
clientele is predominantly serial entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And so they lack the time to organize themselves, or they just have a lot of stuff, clothing,
Mhm.
shoes, they just have a lot of stuff. And
Mhm.
so that's the common thing with my clientele.
Oh, okay. So as far as like the time, do you help them set up systems to stay in an organized state? Because I know you're not there forever. You kind of do projects, right?
Right. I'm not there forever. So my goal is always to come in and create systems that are sustainable, that are easy for you to maintain. And even if they aren't, we offer a maintenance program where we can come back once or twice a month just to refresh the systems that we've already touched on.
Oh, okay, okay. And then when it comes to the stuff, what's your process with helping people figure out like what to get rid of or how to downsize a little bit?
So it's different for every client. I don't use a one size fit all model.
Oh,
But
okay.
let's say for instance with clothing,
Hmm.
generally people tell you if you don't wear it in 6 months to a year to get rid of it.
I got a lot of stuff to get rid of.
And I totally don't I don't advise using that process. So my process always starts with does it fit who you are today?
Hmm.
Because I mean, right off the bat, if it doesn't fit who you are today, then what's the point in holding on to it?
I know.
So
I
that's
know.
where we started my process.
Oh, okay, okay. Now, as you're going through this process, obviously the client is going through the process with you. When things are all said and done, what happens or what is some feedback that you've gotten from people after the project is done?
So they're saving time. They're not spending as much time looking for things. They can find things easily. Um, they aren't buying duplicate items anymore because they know exactly what they have, because they can see what they have.
I got 5 pairs of black boots. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, and so it's things like that. It's just organization, just in general, just makes everything easier in your life. It's just if it's sustainable.
If it's sustainable, okay.
Yeah.
Because
If you can
sometimes,
easily maintain it. Yeah. because sometimes we fill spaces up with the pretty bins and the pretty containers, but the system still isn't sustainable for the client.
Oh, right, like getting a nice little bin, but then everything's piled up in it, and it's
Exactly.
not. Now we're like
It's
trying to figure it
it's
out.
not categorized, it's not labeled, it's not grouped. And so, yeah, you gotta finish the whole project. You can't just put it in a pretty bin and expect it to be organized.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Now, for people like, you've done consultations online before? What do they look like when you're trying to work with somebody online? I know primarily you're actually in people's homes.
Yeah, so the sessions, now are we speaking about sessions or actually consultations? Because actually all of the consultations start online.
Oh, okay, so the
But yeah,
consultations online, but the sessions, what do they look like? If
so the
somebody,
sessions predominantly are in person. We do also offer virtual sessions, but most of the sessions that we do are in person.
oh, okay, that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then now my next question is like, if people are listening, because you talk about sustainable systems and they're thinking about their space, and what is some rule of thumbs or things that you can, because I'm sure it's not just the closets, it's the living room, it's
Yeah.
different areas of the house. What is
Yeah.
some like rules of thumbs or really good tips that you can give me and my audience around like starting with something instead of not doing anything?
Yeah. So one tip that I like to give my clients is before you start your organizing process,
Hmm.
is to really go through what you have, do a deep purge, figure out what can move out of the space before we actually bring new things in the space.
Hmm.
That just helps the process go a whole lot smoother, because we're getting rid of what no longer serves us, so that
Hmm.
we can organize the space so that it's sustainable for you. Another tip that I like to tell clients is, while we're in the process, to not buy anything. That is the hardest thing though, because
Why is that hard?
because people like to shop. We're consumers. That's what we do. We shop, we buy. And so that's one of the hardest things that we have to do. But what ends up happening is, once we get into the process, once we start organizing, is, oh, here are the black pants. I just bought a new pair last week.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I understand that that's hard to do, but that's one thing I do challenge my clients to do.
Okay.
Let's see, another tip. I'm trying to think of it by room. So like both of those were like kind of
What about
closet
the
themed.
kitchen? Because the kitchen is I feel I need to figure out my seasoning cabinet. But what's your takeaway on the kitchen and how? Because I feel like we can have things everywhere, and that's where a lot of duplicates take place as well.
That is exactly where a lot of duplicates take place, in the kitchen. And I just say that doing a deep purge, figuring out what you actually have. And it's kind of the same for all of the spaces. Let's figure
Hmm.
out what you actually have, what you actually need. Let's figure out how you actually use the things that you have. And
Hmm.
if you have multiple tools that do the same thing,
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
we can purge out what you don't need and kind of streamline the process.
Hmm. And another rule of thumb that you kind of talked about earlier, I think is important, is to not give yourself this unsus- untimely like goal of like
Yeah,
doing everything at one time. Would you say like if you are listening to this and you've been thinking about your space, would you tell them to like just do kind of one space at a time or one area?
absolutely. If you're
Okay.
starting this on your own without the help of a professional organizer, I absolutely encourage you to start small. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say starting small, I don't mean today I'm going to organize my whole closet. I
Right.
mean, today I'm going to organize my sock drawer.
Okay.
Tomorrow I'm going to organize t-shirts.
Okay.
I'm going to spend 15 minutes organizing jeans, because if this is not your ministry, burnout happens really fast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Really, really fast.
And I think too, like you said, today I am going to. I think if you can work on being intentional and creating a plan,
Yeah.
I like that you literally socks, right? Something small. And this is really, especially with the holidays coming, I think a lot of times we tend to fill voids with a lot of things during the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to understand the outcome of doing this. It can actually help clear your mind. I'll tell you, I was in church one day and a pastor was talking about this. This was years ago. And he was talking about like some of you guys, your mind's cluttered, your space might be cluttered. And I was like, dang, that makes sense. I remember the first time I heard this, I went home and I just started organizing my space a little bit. Ever since that like conversation, like I heard at church, it really helped me see the importance of doing it, and how my mind, it allowed my mind to have so much more clarity, which helps me make better decisions. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And actually, when I lost my job, I was, and trying to figure out what my next move was, what I was going to do. I had started my business part-time, and in the process of trying to refine my process, come up with the process, refine it, and make it easy for everyone to follow, I was so overwhelmed with that. And it's like, I was looking around my house. It's like, there's too much clutter here. I can't think. I can't breathe. I'm suffocating in my own space. And one day I came home. I took all of my decorations off the wall. I wanted to see bare walls. I didn't want to see any clutter. I took everything off. I sold everything on Facebook. My kids was like, Mom, our house is so boring. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's going to be this way for a moment. But I needed that mental clarity to help me figure out how I was going to provide this service to people.
Yeah. Wow. That's good. And I think that we're a consumer nation. I tell people all the time that because we was driving the other day and my daughter said, "Why is that advertisement billboard there?" It was somewhere like on a building, and then I explained how the goal of the people that are selling things is to make you feel like you need it. But that doesn't mean we have to go according to the way society standards are, the way society flows. But we won't ever know if we don't make space to understand what's taking place, that exchange.
Exactly.
And there's an Amazon like center that just moved in near my house. And I just like my spirit feels like with sadness when I think about how much people spend on things they don't need, or how much they will like purchase a $30 scarf for somebody else to give them a $30 purse with money that nobody has. And so like I think that when you're listening to this, if it's resonating with you, I would definitely think about the way Kendra described, taking on your house little by little and literally like sock by sock. Even if you want to have a calendar, right? It ain't got to cost money, because I know money's a barrier for some people. Getting a calendar and just writing, this day I'm gonna do the sock, this day I'm gonna do the t-shirt, this day I'm gonna do this, and hold yourself accountable. Because the beauty in doing that is because you want to help your mindset change.
Yes. And I like to advise clients 15 minutes, just set a 15-minute timer. 15-minute timer. And once you can do more, make it 30 minutes. But still keep it small. Don't say, okay, today is 5 hours. No, that is way too if you are not a professional organizer, that is way too long. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, till you get up to an hour.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I have someone that comes in every week to help, because I got 4 kids and I do a lot, and I realize like how much time I was spending. But definitely the smaller, starting small. Like me and my kids meditate at night for 10 minutes, but we started at 2 minutes. And people were like, 10 minutes, that's a long time. I was like, no, we started at 2 minutes for like a month and a half. Then we did 3 minutes. We literally built it up minute by minute, because you're getting, and now at 10 minutes, first it was like 2 minutes, like complaining. Now I was like, man, that went by quick. And so the same way what Kendra's talking about with like setting a timer for 15 minutes, it may be like, oh, I could do more than that, but you don't usually do it at all. So like,
just do the 15 minutes, because you're not usually doing this. Just do the 15 minutes, right? And just build up as you go. One thing I also like to tell my clients is that this is gentle, really, really gentle reminder, just for perspective. Is that all of your clutter used to be money.
All of your clutter. Oh, dang.
It used to be money. Yeah. Maybe
That's
not yours, but it was somebody's money. Probably
true.
yours, but it was somebody's money. And now it's all going away.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's good. I never heard that way
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. So that they are always like, oh wow. I know.
I
Sorry.
can use some of that right now.
Yeah. And so another tip I tell my clients is we're going through the process to give yourself grace. I have a lot of
Mhm.
clients. They love to beat themselves up
I
about
know.
the state of their homes, the clutter, the chaos. Just like the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. Neither was your clutter. It happened over time. Give yourself some grace. You're in the space now that you're in the mental capacity to get rid of it, to do something about it. Let's focus on that and get the work done.
I like that. I'm so glad you said that because I know there could be a lot of shame and guilt as you're
Mm-hmm.
listening to this or looking at your space. I'll tell you, when I was in so much like credit card debt where the bill collectors was calling me and like letters, and it's like my stomach would turn. And I remember when I was like, I decided like I'm gonna just like create a payment plan. I'm gonna call these people one by one immediately, like, because it's about making a decision to change, right?
All right.
Immediately when I had that plan with the creditors, my credit score didn't go up, but I felt better because I'm like, I got a plan, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And without the plan, your stomach's turning. So I say that because even if you have a lot to do in your space, if you don't really make time to make a plan, you may always find yourself feeling anxious coming into your
Yes.
space.
Yes.
But making a plan can help your brain know that, okay, we're about to like really get this done,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It's all about shifting your mindset.
Yep.
Because like I said, I still was in credit card debt, but I wasn't feeling the same anxiety I was feeling
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And what I try to do is from the moment a client calls me just for a consultation, at this point they haven't even um, did a contract, paid an invoice, or set up a actual start date for a session. But at the
Mhm,
point that they contacted me for a consultation, I try
mhm.
to make them feel like they are finally ready to take control of it, because
Yeah.
it builds momentum and excitement for what's to come. And so
Yes.
if they get that early on in the start, it just helps to make the process go that much smoother.
Yeah, yeah. This was good. I'm glad that I asked you to come on to do this because
I'm glad you did.
yeah, because with mental health it can be so complicated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that growing up in America as a Black woman and feeling like I used to struggle a lot and thinking that it was just therapy and psychiatry, and I started to take a holistic approach to like life, and it's helped tremendously. Like I said, the guy at church, my mind's open. I'm trying to change. I want to heal. Like I talk about the
Right.
financial stuff. Then I'm hearing about the clutter. So I'm like, all right, let me go home and like fix this, right? And my goal is to help people like learn about different areas of their life that they can work on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a huge, important area that we don't really think about. Like we would not associate this with mental health, but I
We
do.
would not. Mm-mm.
And I think through this podcast people are learning so much and educating themselves so much about the little things they can do even if they don't have a therapist. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
absolutely. Absolutely makes sense. A lot of people don't realize that stress and anxiety is directly tied to clutter. Like
Yeah.
you can't think, you can't, excel in environments that are cluttered. You cannot do it.
Hmm.
It's dysfunctional.
Hmm. Hmm. That's good. Yeah. um Leave, if you can like give my audience, leave them something with a statement or something. I know you say a lot of good things, give yourself grace and just something that can wrap up your kind of mindset and your goals. With I can tell you're really passionate about your people.
I
I
am.
can
I
tell. Yeah,
am.
I can
I
tell.
am.
You
Yeah.
have
I
so
I
good
absolutely
words.
love I absolutely love what I do.
Yes.
I'm thankful for my friend for giving me the push to do this. I wake up every day feeling like I'm going outside to play, is what I tell people. I don't feel like I'm going to work. I'm just going outside to play, for a little while, but
Wow.
absolutely love what I do. And I don't see myself doing anything else ever. So yeah,
Okay.
this one is here to stay. But if I could leave you guys with one thing, let's see what that would be. I cannot stress enough to give yourself grace. I know I said that already, but that's a mantra I have adopted for the past maybe 5 years. And not only in this space, but just in life in general. So many things happen, so many things come at us fast, foreseen and unforeseen, and we can't always do anything about it. But the one thing that we can do is give ourselves some grace and be kind to ourselves to help us
Yes.
get through it. So
Yes.
I would leave with that.
Thank you. That was good. I love it so much.
You're welcome.
You have such a sweet spirit. It's so
Thank
bubbly and bright.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I know you need that when you're dealing with different energies. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you help change the course just by your energy and being there. So
I try. I met with a lady a couple of days ago, and she's like, "My daughter sent you here. I don't want my house organized, but blah 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 blah." We sat down and talked for an hour and a half, just getting to know each other. And she was like, "I'm definitely going to use you when I need you, but I don't need you right now." But so yeah, I try to make myself relatable,
yeah.
and to my clients, and it's working. So
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here. Tell people how they can reach you. And also for people listening, this is going to be in the show notes. And don't forget, you can watch it you can watch it on YouTube as well. But tell people how they can reach you.
So you can reach me on the web at organizedbykendra.com, and then on all social media platforms, Organized by Kendra. And my
Thank
email
you.
is hi@organizedbykendra.com if you want to send me an email.
Look at that. Hi. Like, who does that? Kendra does.
Me.
You started off with hi. You're so sweet.
Right. Everybody loves it. It's like, oh, that's the cutest
It's
thing.
so cute. I love it. I might have to steal it. No.
Yeah. Go ahead, girl. But
Thank you,
yeah, that's how you can
Kendra.
reach me. Oh, you're so welcome, Celeste. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Okay. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye.